So in the United States, there are three famous long trails. In the east, there's the Appalachian Trail, which goes from Georgia to Maine. Yeah. In the Rocky Mountains, like in Colorado, that's also the Continental Divide Trail that goes from the Mexican border to the Canadian border. And then in the far west, in California, there's the Pacific Crest Trail, which also goes from Mexican border to Canadian border. Yeah, it's especially the Appalachian Trail is really, really well known. It's really easily accessible from New York City. You can be there in like 1.5 hours. So it's by far the most popular one. But the Pacific Crest Trail is definitely more wild, less developed than the East Coast. And the Continental Divide Trail is the most wild one.
Wow.
That's the most remote, where you have to be really on top of your game to hike it. Yeah.
I see. So what do you mean by wild? Like, you mean like the trails are not marked, or?
No, actually the trail quality, I would say, in the Pacific Crest Trail is much better. I've actually done also some sections of the Appalachian Trail, not as long. And it's very often that the trail in the Appalachian Trail goes like straight up the mountain, straight down the mountain, straight up the mountain, straight down the mountain. But the Pacific Crest Trail is more winding. It's never so steep that you feel like you're going to die from hiking up it. But the Appalachian Trail is often like that. But yeah, I would say the quality of the trail itself is very good. Like, there are a few places where it's hard, where you maybe have to climb over some rocks, but I would say it's never need to use your hands or something, you can always walking.
So you don't need the walking sticks? You can just like walk without it?
Well, the walking sticks were really popular actually. Like a lot of hikers really like them because they do help you with like balance. I personally didn't use them, but they are very popular. A lot of people use them.
Okay, and how long is the trail?
Yeah, so the total length is 2,600 miles or 4,270 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it the longest trail in the world? Do you know?
I don't think so. There must be a longer one somewhere.
Okay, that sounds quite long still.
Yeah, even the Continental Divide Trail, for example, continues into Canada. So I think it just depends where you draw the borders. I think you can definitely draw the border longer if you wanted to. Yeah.
I see. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, what I mean by more wild, I guess, is that there is much less interaction with towns and roads and things like that. So, for example, in the Appalachian Trail, it's very common that you would only have like 30 miles or like, 45, 50 kilometers between towns. But on the Pacific Crest Trail, it's very common that you would have like at least 160 kilometers between two town stopping points, like 2 points where you could get off the trail and visit a town. So that makes it like you have to hike a much longer distance before you can go and buy food and everything. Yeah.
In the Appalachian or the Pacific Crest?
That's a Pacific Crest Trail.
Pacific Crest. Oh, okay. So, I mean, really, like on the Appalachian Trail, when you hike, there are places like shops and everything inside where you can buy food?
No. So the way it almost always works is the trail just crosses a road at some point, and some distance away on that road is a town where you can go shopping. And I remember a lot of people, they have a hard time to visualize what it's like. So someone once asked me if I was like hunting for my food in
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna ask, because you said it's wild, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
maybe she was hunting.
No,
okay.
But I would always say, no, I didn't have to hunt the food. It stayed nice and still at the supermarket for me.
For full episodes, go to solopacker.com.